this is going to be a fairly short meeting, but I want to spend some time and talk about the dyslexia professional development part of the legislation. I was able to submit an application, and what that application entailed was the Fall Institute, the monthly collaboration calls, and the Spring Institute, which will be on the 13th of June. I have provided, and I'll send it out in the notes, I have provided in the agenda. I'm going to share my screen and pull it up. This document, I spoke to the people here at the State Department of Ed, and right now what they would like us to do is run it as in-district service time, in-service verification. And I am sending this to you, and it will be you as the administrator who is able to verify that the staff that received this document, is everybody familiar with this document? Jeannie's saying yes. What about you, Richard and Shane? Are you familiar with it?
Sorry, it was just up there briefly, but I think it's the PD request for the district. Is that what it was?
Yeah, is it not showing? I'm going to share my screen again. Oh, actually, I know what I did wrong. I showed the wrong screen. Do you see this Idaho district? And you're all familiar with this form? Okay. So I am sending you, the title is the Cultivating Readers Project, Fall Institute, Collaboration Calls Training, and Spring Institute. It ran August 1st through the 22nd. We need to have everything finished up by the 30th. It's 15 hours across. Here's the brief description. It's 15 hours. So you just have an administrator sign and put in this other information and then fill it out for the teachers who meet the qualifications. Any questions on that? Okay, so for next year, what I want to offer is teachers that need the professional development credit, which is pretty much elementary, who are in or not in the project, who attend the virtual fall trainings, the collaboration call, and the Spring Institute, whether they're in the project or not, we're going to allow in your buildings them to attend, and we will give them the same in-service form for next year. And you will be responsible to ensure the individuals complete the requirements of this in-service PD. Did I explain that well? What we're doing is we're saying, if your Cultivating Readers did it this year, fabulous, that's great. If you have people that are not in the project, that you would like to have them receive the PD credit through this venue, they can attend all of our events next year that are virtual. One of the slight differences for next year, and Shane, I see your hands raised. One of the differences for next year is because you might have a 4th, 5th grade teacher, the virtual content, they will get to choose between foundational skills intensified, vocabulary instruction, or comprehension. So it might be more applicable for some of your upper grades if they want to get the PD credit this way to attend in the fall and next year's collaborative calls based on those contents. So Shane, go for it.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. My microphone's been glitchy, so thanks. So this is in addition to the 10 hours that the district must certify off that the teachers have received 10 hours of dyslexia training or knowledge using the dyslexia handbook and the comprehensive literacy plan. And then the 15 hours is additional content above and beyond that, correct?
So I am not sure about what you're referring in regard to the 10 hours. The legislation talked about training and professional development. We offered you the 4 hours of training, and now we need to, and it has to be, my understanding, it has to be the State Department of Ed approved for the PD credit. And you might have submitted something as a district. But we had to go through quite a rigorous process. Let me, I'm going to share. So Lexi and Shelby had to create and submit a syllabus that went over, it's the Fall Institute, the Collaborative Calls, the Spring Institute. They had to submit a course description, what participants would do, what the instructors would do, resources, what a site. So it was not just you're going to sit down and do something. It really had to be and they broke down what they would be doing.
Yeah. No, is what I'm referring to is
and there's this application process. Shane, did you fill it out?
the application process for professional development. No, it wasn't for credit, so I didn't have to fill it out.
Okay.
It was just in the code, it talks about districts providing or certifying that their teachers have received at least in their district for this year prior to the beginning of August of 2023, minimum of 10 hours of dyslexia knowledge. It wasn't, and we provided that. Then we also, because of the Cultivating Readers and SMART, we did the 4 hours for our Cultivating Readers team. And now this is the 15 hours, which is required for new certifications before 2025. Is that all right?
The only thing that is throwing me off is the 10 hours. I have never seen any of that in the legislation or the guidance. So if you'll share with me where that's coming from, we are under the guidance of there's training, which we did virtually, and that was the 4 hours, and there's the PD credit. And so the application for this had to be submitted for approval. I did get approval. And so you're throwing me a bit by saying 10 hours sorry. Because I don't have any guidance that's that specific.
30, it's other principals or superintendents. Am I off? I mean, I want to thank you for providing this additional training, because this is the hardest part as a superintendent and as a cultivating reader administrator, SMART administrator, trying to help my teachers not overtrain on this, but yet when it's attached to endorsements, that really becomes, I want to make sure I get it right. So that's why I'm asking the questions. I'm not trying to be difficult at all.
No, and I want to help navigate it. And like I said, if your teachers took the 4-hour training or some type of training and did those pieces that I described,
then we're
now
good.
Your SMART teachers, they had their own application, so we'll need to reflect on that. But what I got approved was, as we had talked last year, we would work really hard within this program to ensure that your teachers, one, that are participating, get all of the training that's required for the dyslexia legislation. And we are opening it up next year. If you have other teachers that are not part of the project that want the professional development, they could join this as well.
Okay. I found the piece, but it doesn't have hours in there. It's in Title 33, Chapter 18, Idaho Statute 33-8811. Section 4, paragraph B. And it says no later than the beginning of the 2023-24 school year, all teachers, administrators, and school counselors with an instructional certificate in grades 6 through 12 shall be required to have received professional development on the characteristics of dyslexia.
And
So
that was the 4-hour training that we did online with Lexi and Shelby in October, and again in April.
yeah, but I have to translate that from my cultivating readers team to the rest of my school. So that's why I'm asking the question with other administrators on here, is because then I have, so we've done that. I can sign off and certify we've done it. But the certification, and having talked with Aaron at the State Department, that the certifications for endorsements with dyslexia start in 2025, 2026.
And that's what this will cover.
Perfect.
The 15-hour piece of this will cover that.
All right. And I appreciate that. And thank you for your work on this.
Yeah, not a problem. Anybody else have, Sarah, you just jumped on.
I did, and I was on the phone with, I have kids at Moss and everywhere. Can you give me like a really brief summary of what you just said?
I just want to let you know, in the agenda, you will find this in-service verification. Any of your staff that did the Fall Institute, the collaboration calls, and attends the Spring Institute, you as the administrator will be able to give them this certification, and this will cover that 15-hour PD requirement for the dyslexia training. We also have it approved for next year, and we're opening it up to anybody in your building that is outside the project, that if they want to attend the Fall Institute, the collaboration calls, and the Spring Institute, they can get this PD as well next year.
Okay, and that's not doing the modules, that's just attending the institutes. And
It's the
is
fall and the
everything
monthly
virtual?
calls. Everything's virtual. It's the monthly calls, the fall training, and the Spring Institute.
Love it. Thank you.
Shannon,
I know that you and I had talked. So Kim,
I have just a quick question. I have 2 teachers who did the collaboration calls and this planning on doing the Spring Institute, but they missed the fall one. So would they just then pick up the fall one?
as an administrator, you would determine if they meet the requirements. We provide the content, you confirm that they've met them.
Okay, thank you.
Richard, haven't heard from you.
No, you're sharing is lining up with what we've done here already. We've done our 4 hours of PD for all staff.
Okay.
So they have that, and then being able to share this with our current cultivating readers participants. Again, just kind of maybe reiterating, if they've done the Fall Institute, the online virtual meetings, and the Spring Institute, then they've met the requirements for these 15 hours to meet the requirement for dyslexia training. But we'll also offer this again next year for all staff at the elementary level that are participating in the project.
Well, even if they're
No,
not,
sorry.
if they're in your building,
The school that's participating in the project, but all staff in the building can have access to this training.
that is correct.
Perfect.
I have a quick question about the Fall Institute in August. I thought that was in Coeur d'Alene. Is it virtual now?
No, there's 2 pieces of it, and
Okay.
there were 2 pieces last year. We have a fall MTSS day with your leadership team, but we also have, I'm gonna pull up the calendar again. We also have 1 day content with Lexi and Shelby that, based on what year you are in the project, give me 1 second to pull up the calendar.
And is there a place we have to turn in these forms to say, or we just keep them in our files?
Well, as the administrator, I'm sending you the form. You're gonna
Yeah.
fill it out and make sure the appropriate people get it.
Yes,
They then, when they go to recertify, they have to verify they have the continuing ed credits in this piece of it. So you might want to keep a copy for your file, but they must have a copy of it to submit for that recertification verification that they've met the criteria.
got it.
Yeah.
While you're looking for that, this is random. What's that National Center for Literacy with the Parent Resources?
National Center for Improving Literacy.
Okay,
It's actually improvingliteracy.org, but it's NCIL. So,
Thank
Sarah,
you.
to go back to your question, the way the Fall Institute is set up is we have these in-person meetings with returning schools and new schools. Last year, you guys came to Nampa, but we also have these virtual days. So you guys, your staff that are in the project will have a virtual training day on August 1st, and it is foundational skills intensification. What I shared, and I'm not sure if you were on yet or not, was some of your staff, depending on what grade level they teach, if they're not in the project, I want to be very clear. If they're in the project, they're doing the foundational skills intensification. If they're not, and they're just doing it for the professional development credit, they could choose to go to the vocabulary session on the 2nd or the comprehension section on the 3rd. If they choose to do the vocabulary section on the 2nd or the comprehension on the 3rd, and I'll put all of this in a guidance document, their monthly calls will be based on the content that they received. So if you guys, as an implementation team, your instructional staff will be meeting on the 2nd Tuesday of every month, 3 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Mountain. But if you're doing vocabulary, it's going to be the 3rd Tuesday. And if they're doing comprehension, it's going to be the 4th Tuesday. Because the content follows that virtual day session in August. They then move through the content over the course of the year. And again, I'm thinking of Richard, who might have a 5th grade teacher, that foundational skills aren't going to necessarily be in their wheel of instruction, but comprehension and vocabulary very well could be. And we don't want them to attend a dyslexia. We don't want them to attend any training that they don't feel is applicable to their actual instruction. And so it's a little muddy because we're trying to help meet a need, but also make it relevant. I'm going to check back in with you. Jeannie, is that clear as mud? Or at least soup, pea green soup?
Well, I think I understand right now while you're here telling us. Let's just see if I can remember it to, later when I share it with the rest of my staff.
Well, right now I am waiting for all the links to come in, and I'm gonna put it all in a document that I'm gonna
Okay.
send to you that says, if you're in the Cultivating Leaders project and you are a teacher that's part of your implementation team, this is what you're gonna need to register for. If you're outside that, here's some other options.
Okay,
Sarah,
That's
did
good.
that cover your questions?
Yes, it does. My business manager was asking, I don't know if this is a you or a Kaylee question for the August 7th in-person one in Coeur d'Alene. I don't think we've gotten the funds for that yet, have we? Or was that this year or next year?
So there should be money in your GRS, is that what it, or GRA? I'm not sure what they call it.
Yes, I think she said that we had only been given the funding in the up until July, but not August yet. So we didn't know if that money we were supposed to take from this year or next year.
Well, Kaylee will be adding more money if you need it. So I'm really not.
Reach out to her then.
If there's not enough to cover your expenses, then yes,
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
yes. So Kim, if staff can't attend the virtual sessions, they will be taped for a later time. And very similarly to what we did this year, I'm gonna pull it up. And again, you're gonna need to communicate with me if they're doing something outside of what your whole team is, but I'm gonna pull up there for the Fall Institute, we create Padlets for every year of the program. So this is the implementation year that you guys are going to be starting next year. You will get access to this Padlet for the Fall Institute that'll have all the slides, that will have all of the handout material for the MTSR leadership team. So this content will be there. The instructional staff will attend the foundational skills intensified training. And so here's the recording, and then here's the handouts that go with that recording. There's also a coaching platform. And so there is training on the use of the coaching platform. It also is recorded with handouts. So we try to give you one place for the Fall Institute, but you guys also have access, and your instructional staff and you as administrators have a different Padlet, and here are the calls. So this is where I post our administrative call recordings based on the month and the instructional staff recordings. So there's two Padlets that your teams have access to. One specific to the Fall Institute, the other one specific to the monthly calls. Shane, any questions? Nope, is that working for you?
Just
Okay,
to clarify, you said if somebody, like, for example, I have a couple staff members that do like a backpacking trip, so they might be gone on August 2nd or 3rd or 1st, they can watch the recording and I can certify that they watched it.
correct,
Got it.
correct. Kim, did that answer your question about covering your staff?
Yeah, thank you. I just have same thing. It's that first week in August is our county fair, and it's big, huge still in Cambridge. And so they were like, how do I do both?
I was a 4-H mom. I lived at fairgrounds month of July and August. I get it. We do encourage as many people to attend. And then there is the in-person training that we do with your Fidelity team. And that is the ones, I'm gonna just a second go back to the Fall Institute. We're in various parts of the state. So Sarah, you're not going to necessarily have to bring everybody down to Boise. You'll be able to attend this one day in Coeur d'Alene. And then we have the Nampa Civic Center, and then we have Idaho Falls. So Jeannie, you won't need to haul everybody over to Boise. You'll be able to go to Idaho Falls. But this training, the MTSSR training, really is for your fidelity team. It's that MTSSR team that is the administrator, the coach, the teachers that are receiving the coaching, or your highly qualified teachers that are doing the MTSSR and part of that leadership piece. Okay. Thank you, those that have sent us a celebration. If you have not sent us a celebration, please do so. We really would love to celebrate you. Will has received a couple of celebrations, but even a picture of your team and a short write-up of what's been going on. Shane, you guys have done some amazing parent nights. You know, if you have pictures of those parent nights that you could share, or a write-up, that would be great.
Thanks, and we're having another one tomorrow night, or may the 4th of literacy be with you.
That's fabulous.
So
So
we'll have some stuff for tomorrow.
that would be great. If you just would get some, a couple of pictures and then tell us how active your parents were, we'll add that to our celebration.
Thank you. Appreciate your support this year.
Always. Richard, have you sent me in a celebration?
I have not. Thank you for the reminder.
I'm gonna hound you guys because we really want to show this when we get together on June 13th. Kim, celebration?
No, we'll put something together.
I know it's a really tough time of year, but we really do want to celebrate you guys. Jeannie, have you?
No, but you just gave me some good ideas and we'll get that ready. Do we just send it to you?
That's fine. Yeah, send it to me and we'll get it over to
All
the
right.
person that's melding it together. Sarah, do you guys have celebrations that you're going to share?
Haven't figured it out yet, but I'll put it on my list.
All right, well, please let me know if I can be of any assistance. It don't feel like it has to be very time consuming. We really just want to celebrate what good things are happening. Registration for the Spring Institute. Again, your MTSSR leadership team will have a session with Carol Disson in the morning on June 13th from 9 to noon Pacific time. Sorry, it's 9 to noon Mountain Time, 8 to 11 Pacific time. And then your instructional staff will be working with Lexi and Shelby on reading instruction from 1 to 4 Mountain Time, 12 to 3. And here's the registration links. Also, I'm going to be working, getting you a whole registration, but if you would register your teams, and if you are traveling more than 50 miles to the site, we have set aside a room block. The only one that might impact will be Sarah. Kim, how far are you guys from Caldwell?
Last time we stayed down there, I think we're what, 120 miles? I don't know for sure.
Yes, then you can choose to stay. You may choose to stay for overnight. We have a block of rooms that I will get you that link at the Best Western that's right across the parking lot.
Okay, that's what we did last year. Thanks.
Yes, fabulous. Okay, those were the highlights that I really needed to make sure is that you understood the dyslexia piece. the registration for the Spring Institute and the registration for the Fall Institute. With that being said, are there other supports that you guys need in finishing out the year or that I can clarify? I will, in my email with all of the registration links, will be registration for the new parents that are coming onto your team, or any parent that would like to have the serving on groups, as well as a link for administrators who might not have attended the leading by convening. Okay, thank you, Shane. Do you know who that is? Okay. Okay, we can chat. Okay. Other questions, concerns, follow-up? I'm getting negative, negative, negative. Okay. Then I again want to be respectful of your time. Just with an quick poll, have you found these meetings helpful in understanding the program, the process, and moving forward? Okay, Sarah's yes, Jeannie.
Yeah, I wait for these meetings so you can clarify. I know I email you a lot, but it's nice to have these to help clarify a lot of the questions I have.
Perfect. Again, we don't want to have meetings for the sake of meetings. And I don't want to keep you any longer than I have to, but I do want to make sure that you don't feel frustrated because you don't know what's going on. Okay. Yes, Richard, I will hang out to chat with you for a minute, and Shane, I will be in contact with you. All right. I will see you guys on June 13th, and look forward to some emails with some registration links and share out with your staff.
Thank you
Thanks,
so much.
Shannon.
Have a great day.
Bye.